What is good, ladies and gentlemen? If you're watching this episode, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. New episodes every week. Today, we're breaking down a very important, a very big album for us personally. Today, we're talking about Lil Wayne's The Carter 4. It is Lil Wayne's ninth studio album. It released in August 2011, following his release from prison in 2010. We got Drake, Rick Ross, T-Pain, Andre 3000, hits like She Will, 6 Foot, 7 Foot, Nightmares at the Bottom. It debuted at number one on the Billboard 200, sold nearly 1 million copies in its first week. I know it's one of your personal favorites, maybe your favorite album. Definitely
Yeah.
one of my personal favorites. When we were in ninth grade, you ask anyone, hey, what are you listening to? This is what they were listening
I
to.
mean, yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
a
today we're breaking
staple.
down the Carter 4.
It's a staple album for not only my childhood, but obviously, like you said, many of our childhoods growing up.
Oh yeah.
Era-defining classics like She Will, Blunt Blowin', and more. But yeah, the pure passionate rapping from Wayne. I'm ready to get into this album.
Okay, so we did do all 21. We did the deluxe version, so we're going to talk about all the songs including the deluxe. So, I guess before we start, like I do remember a time in I think it was my ninth grade. Everyone that I knew, if you asked them what they were listening to, they would show you their phone and it was some song off this album. Lil Wayne was like the biggest thing when we were like in our prime of late middle school, high school. Lil Wayne was like the biggest artist in our area, at least. Seems
Yeah,
like that's all anyone listened to.
I remember sitting down at my mom's computer at home because she worked on a computer. But yeah, I would sit down and on early YouTube, I would sit down and recite these lyrics, try to learn these lyrics to a lot of these songs on this album. So yeah, like I said, I'm excited to talk about it.
All right, so I guess when's the last time before this week that you listen to the Carter 4 from front to back? Is this one that you go back to often and listen to? Because this is
Yeah,
one that I'm still playing a lot.
yeah. I mean, I play songs from it regularly, like
Yeah. Which
weekly,
one do you think you play the
almost
most?
daily. Mega
Like
Man and
just
Blunt Blowin' are probably my two that I played the most on there. But yeah, it's in my regular rotation. Last time I listened to it fully through was last year. I'm pretty sure I remember listening to it fully through last year, but you know, like I said, we're doing a little bit of a different breakdown. Like I said last week, when we did the blueprint. So yeah, let's get into it, man. The pure passionate rapper from Wayne, coming from what seems like relentless punchlines every verse and almost every other line. You know what I mean? From the quick to the slow punches, the heartfelt to the braggadocious, you know, lyrical content. What do you think about, his rapping, I guess, performance and his vocal performance on this album?
yeah, I think like just straight up rapping, bar wise, punchline wise, this is Lil Wayne's prime. Like the punchline game, every bar on this album is like so witty and smart and has double meanings, the triple entendres. Like he is on top of his game, writing and rapping wise
Yeah,
on this
that's
album.
that's the one thing that stands out to me always when I come back to this, but especially this time coming back to re-listen to the whole album. The punchlines are insane. It's like
Insane.
it's Big L rebirth, but Lil Wayne obviously in his prime. Punchlines every other fucking line, like I said, but yeah, and he not only on the rapping side of things and on the art, the I guess Lil Wayne's performance on the production side of things. Again, Kanye coming in to produce some of these songs on here. Timbaland is on
Hmm.
here. Who else? Boy Wonder is on here. And I feel like the production on this album also not only stands out, but stands the test of time.
Yeah, I love some of the production, some of the beats on this album. Some of my favorite Wayne songs of all time are on here. Anything else you want to say or stood out to you before we start going into the awards, the categories?
I guess not really. Just want to highlight how really eccentric the production really was throughout this album and how much the production I feel like influenced a lot of these modern rappers, like someone even like a Travis Scott, Playboy Cardi, obviously heavy influence in their music. And I feel like this album is probably a foundation of where they got that from. But yeah, more importantly, like bringing it back to the beginning, the significance of this album to not only us as fans, hip hop fans everywhere, but to the rap game itself. So, yeah, let's do it, man. Let's get into the categories.
All right, so the first award we're gonna give out here is most underrated song. In your opinion, what are a couple nominees, or how many you got for most underrated? I feel like I have a few here.
I mean, it's kind of crazy to say this, but I feel like there's a lot on this classic album that are underrated.
I agree.
But there's really one that stands out to me. Couple nominees though I got. Abortion, I feel like is very underrated on here.
I
Obviously,
agree.
Interlude is something that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about with the Tech Nine and Andre 3K features coming in on there. But what's the one that stands out to you before I give you mine?
I know what you're gonna say, and I agree. It's the first one of my nominations. It's Nightmares at the Bottom.
It is not the one that I'm gonna say,
Wow.
but valid.
What are you gonna say then? I'm curious
Okay,
because I have a couple others, but that's like the one when I was looking at streams and reviews, people like don't like that song. So I
okay.
was like a lot of critics hated Nightmares at the Bottom. I was
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
okay, I
I'm
love
not
that
really
song.
going off what the critics say, I guess. I'm just going off what the songs I like the most, and I feel like the ones that not I don't see many people talk about. So, my most underrated song on this album, and I feel like maybe Wayne's most underrated song, one of my personal favorites, so that's probably why, is going to be Mega Man, the third song on this track list. Like I said, I remember sitting when I was in maybe I don't know, fifth grade or sixth grade, seventh grade when this came out, and reciting these lyrics and writing these lyrics down, trying to remember these lyrics bar for bar. And this song has stuck with me for damn near 20 years at this point. So I'm going to go Mega Man as my most underrated. I feel like the punchlines on here, the passionate, like you really get a passionate Wayne on here, and you get a classic, like, punch flow from him. It's my favorite song maybe on the album. Don't want to
I mean,
spoil
yeah,
any other.
I love
Uh,
Mega Man. I just figured I thought that was like one of the most popular. That's why I didn't include it in my most underrated because I
yeah, I
do think
don't
that's one of the most popular on the album. No,
I don't ever see people talk about it. To be honest, I feel like
I mean
I'm the
that's
only
true.
person that ever talks about this shit, and I ride for it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going with Mega Man.
You didn't have Nightmares at the Bottom on your list for most underrated, right?
Nope,
Yeah.
nope.
I got Nightmares at the Bottom. I have President Carter here because I don't think that song really gets any love. And like, it's a cool concept. Punchlines are great. The production's not the best. It's not my favorite song, but I do think it's a great song still. And I have It's Good as a nomination as well. I just have always loved It's Good. That Jadakiss, Drake, Lil Wayne together.
Yeah,
Always love that song. And then I put Up, and Away on here too because when I'm going through my nominations, I really like all three verses and the hook and the production on that song.
that's
So like
interesting.
I do think people like that song, but
I
man,
don't
it's really good.
I don't like the up. I'm not going back and re-listening to it. I really didn't like the up and away production, bro. I really didn't.
No, yeah, I mean it's out there.
I mean, yeah,
There's like a lot of crazy sounds and weird shit going on, but I fuck with it.
I feel you. I feel you. All right, what's our next category here? We got what's the most 2011 thing about the album?
Yeah. I
So,
have
what do you
kind of a
think?
just like a funny answer for this. How to Hate and How to Love just existing as songs on an album is the most 2011 thing. Lil Wayne was really early in that genre bending, just making any sounds and styles he wants. And I respect that a lot. Like he was on that wave super early before anyone else. Like I can put these love acoustic songs on my rap
Yeah,
album. I don't give a shit.
yeah, the
Before
T Pain
Uzi and all these
feature.
people.
Yep.
And yeah, I like them personally. At least How to Love I probably like more than How to Hate, but just the fact that they're on here and it's like one of the best classic rap albums of all time. That's just so 2011 to me. You got anything
Yeah,
else?
fair enough. I mean, I got a lot of things. This is a very 2011 rap album. You know what I'm
It
saying?
is.
Especially in my mind, the way it's stapled in there. How to Hate, just as a song, like you said, kinda just is
Yeah.
2011.
Yeah.
The way he
It
says
really
skinnies and
is.
some Supras, I'm blunt
Facts.
blowing. That's
Yeah.
like ultra 2011. Nobody's wearing Supras or skinnies really no more. But
I bought
um,
Supras after I heard this album. That was when I got my first pair of Supras. I
right,
was Lil
right.
Wayne in his skate era. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
and then you got I guess I'll give the award to just the Drake feature. You know what I'm saying? The Drake chorus on She Will, the hook on She Will, I feel like is the most 2011 thing about this album.
That's the only time he's on there too, right? On this one, it's just that She Will song.
No,
Drake's the
he's on
only.
It's Good too.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah, duh.
yeah, but yeah, I think I'll go with that because that was a staple of the time, of the era. You know what I mean? It's his most streamed song 14 years later after its release.
That's it.
Iconic, era defining Drake feature. So I think I'll give it to
She
that
Will is Lil Wayne's most streamed song ever.
currently, daily.
That's crazy. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yep.
I would have said like a milli or something.
Nope, She Will.
Damn.
But it marked a time where Wayne and Drake were both like in their prime together. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of the best time for YMCMB. So yeah,
Young Money Cash Money, that's the most 2011 thing. Yeah,
Yep.
basically. That
Yep.
kind of sums it up.
for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna give it to the She Will feature. But we're gonna move
Okay.
on to what's aged the best, and this is again good. I'm just gonna spill my beans. It's gonna be She Will, being like I just mentioned, Lil Wayne's most streamed song today, daily. I think it's getting like who knows, over 100 million plays a day or something crazy.
Makes
Um,
sense to me.
Yeah, easily the most well-aged thing on this album. Obviously, you got Drake doing the almost identical sounding hooks throughout his whole career, and this is really where it started.
Even
So,
now.
yeah, yeah. But the thing that stands, I guess, beside that, because I do want to give it to that, I think that's aged the best, is the production, like we said earlier. The production, I feel like on this album, especially on tracks like So Special, really influenced a lot of the rap game today. Like I said earlier, people like Travis, Playboy Cardi, Young Thug, a lot of these guys, I feel like were heavily influenced by this album.
Okay, that's good because I have two other nominations that you didn't mention. I put the Carter series in general. Does a better series exist when it comes to music? Like
No.
just the Carter. I said age the best because we've already gotten Carter 5 since then. Obviously, 3, 4, and 5 are like the most iconic, but yeah, the Carter series in general is what I have for what's age the best. And I also just said Lil Wayne's punchline game. We
Yeah.
mentioned it at the top. It's just he's never, no one maybe has ever had a punchline game as strong as Lil Wayne's on the Carter.
I really am not sure. I really am not sure. It's really so impressive going back and listening to this because
It's insane.
he's so hungry. There's punchlines every other word. So
Yeah, it's like every other bar is like some that's hilarious or yeah,
for real,
it's wild.
But all right, on the flip side of the coin, what do you think is aged the worst?
Unfortunately, even if you don't have this is it, and you're wrong if you don't agree. It's just the slurs that he uses, the F word, the R word. He's just throwing around slurs that we don't say anymore.
I guess.
So that's what I have is what is the worst. Like
Fair
you don't want to
enough.
go around saying the F and the R word, singing around to Lil Wayne songs in public, but they do live on this album forever.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it is a staple of the time, right? The early internet.
That's also the most 2011 thing. Yeah, you
Yeah.
could have mentioned it there too.
Right,
But
right.
when I'm listening to him, like, I don't
What are you
love
gonna
him
do about
saying
it?
the
Though?
F word
What are you
on
gonna do
it.
about
But
it?
yeah.
But I feel like also one thing that stood out to me is what's aged the worst. Although it's aged somewhat the best, I feel like the production and some of the auto tune choices, like the ultra high pitch auto tune T-Pain on How to Hate.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you know,
I like How to Love way more than
the
How to
6
Hate.
foot, 7 foot beat is just annoying. You know, if you're a hip hop fan, you just know that beat is just like okay, and the hook, and it's just like there's some production choices on here that after 15 years of listening to the same album is like okay, but I'm gonna say that's aged the worst is the ultra auto tune T-Pain.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the slurs.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Shout out everyone that, I mean, I don't really mind personally, but I just
Who knows? I mean,
it was a different time.
yeah. All right. Best hook on the Carter 4. What do you got?
I had a hard time with this one. I ended up with 3 nominees here. I have Blunt Blowin' as probably like my favorite or like, the 1 seed. I do have She Will. I mean, goes without saying, absolutely iconic. I didn't even know that was his most streamed song. And then I have Up, Up and Away as my 3rd nomination.
Okay, interesting.
I love that hook. I
I've
love that song.
I have two of the same as you. I also got She Will and Blunt Blowin'. I feel like Blunt Blowin' hook is so iconic.
Yeah,
Blunt Blowin', Polo Jaw showing. I don't
yeah,
give a lovely
it's good.
motherfucker. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it's so
Will
good.
forever be in my brain, and I'll be able to recite that shit when I'm 107 years old. You know what I'm saying? So
Smoking weed to that song in the ninth grade, nothing beats that.
yeah, and obviously the Drake hook on She Will is gonna come up there too. But
Yeah,
I feel like the best hook on this song is gonna be How to Love for me. I feel like it's maybe Lil Wayne's best R&B performance for me personally, just because this is the era where I was like listening to Lil Wayne 24/7, like I said, reciting his lyrics on paper and shit. So I think I'm gonna go with the How to Love hook.
I mean, we both have Blunt Blowing and She Will. You don't want to pick one of those and come to a consensus?
Okay, yeah, we can. I think Blunt Blowing then.
I'm cool with Blunt Blowing. That's where I would lean as well.
Okay, so if I pick
Because we
personally,
agree on
it's
that
gonna
one.
be How to Love. If we're picking together, I'll give it to Blunt Blowing.
Yeah, I just think, when we can give it to one where we kind of agree, we might as
Fair
well
enough.
try to. But I do love the How to Love hook. Like, I listened to that song today. I do like that song a lot, which
Yeah,
may be weird, but
I mean, I feel like it's one of the better parts of the album, really. That stand out, but so is the Blunt
good.
Blowing hook.
I'm glad you think so. I don't know if other people think that.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Like an
But
average hip hop fan, do they love How to Love? I don't know.
I have no idea, bro. I have no idea. To be honest with
Well,
you, it's a great
we
song
love it
for
over
me.
here.
Yeah, exactly. We love it over here. But all right, what's the next? What's the next category, Tom?
All right, this one, you could, nominate a lot of songs for this too. The best production or the best beat on the
Mm,
Carter 4.
mm.
Give me your nominations.
Okay, so I also have Blunt Blowing here, and
Me
I
too.
also have She Will here. I feel like
I,
are two of the highest level produced songs on this album. The Blunt Blowing production speaks for itself, and really She Will being, so iconic to the era. Also with Blunt Blowing too, but also standing the test of time, being able to be bumped, 15 years later, and people will be like, okay, that was released yesterday, is impressive. So
I have both of those as well on
I
my
feel
list.
like I want to give it to She Will, but I also have one that's standing out to me is Abortion. I really love the soulful cut on Abortion. I feel like Wayne over the soulful production is something special that we don't always get. So I'm torn here.
How do you feel about intro, interlude, and outro, which all have the same beat?
Same
Which
beat.
is a great beat, but they all have the same production, but it's a really good one. I
I feel
did
like it's like
include those.
it's tweaked. Like intro, it's like basic, and I feel
Yeah, I
like on the
think they
outro
are.
that it's added a bit of layers. But
But I do
um,
really like it. I included it in my nominations, but I would honestly lean Blunt Blowin' or She Will as well. I threw Mega Man on my nominations here. It just hits so
I
hard,
do
the
love the
energy.
Mega Man production. I do.
I'm surprised you didn't have that as a nominee, but yeah, I'm leaning Blunt Blowin' or She Will. We can give it to She Will because we gave Blunt Blowin' the best hook if you want to go that way. But shout out to the
I
intro, the
do
interlude, and the
love the
outro.
Abortion triumphant soulful production though. But all
I mean,
right,
we can do different ones if you're
I'll take
strong on
Abortion.
abortion.
But like we did on the last one, if I had to pick solo, I'll pick Abortion. But I'm with you. We'll go with She Will on this one.
All right, sounds good.
Which I think makes sense because it has stood the test of time, being Wayne's currently most streamed song daily. So,
Yeah, that's honestly still surprising to me. But yeah, I agree.
all right, next category, we got one that's gonna be tough on this album because there's so many legendary features. But what is the best feature to you on a Carter 4?
Okay, so there is a clear one seed, I think, which would be Corey Guns on 6 foot, 7 foot. He holds his own with Wayne. One of Wayne's, best verse slash rapping performances ever on a song. If you just lay it out bar for bar, Corey Guns holds his own. But my other nominee, I did narrow it down to just two. I have Nas here. I don't know how that works because Wayne isn't on that track, but that Nas verse
Is
is
he not?
just insanely good on outro. Like I love that Nas verse. I have Corey Guns and Nas as my two nominees.
Fair
I
enough.
don't know if you have someone else.
No, I mean I also have Corey Guns. I feel like that might be the generic answer here. I feel like everybody knows that
Yeah,
he stood tall with Wayne, going toe to toe with him. Obviously Drake on She Will is gonna be one that stands out, one of the biggest features on this album. Tech Nine on Interlude.
Hmm.
You
I
know,
figured you'd have that one.
I'm a rap purist. No, I'm not a rap purist, but um, I do appreciate Tech Nine's bars and his flow and his wordplay. So I feel like that's one that stands out to me on this album too. But
Over Nas?
yeah, over Nas for
Okay.
me on
I
this one.
definitely like the Nas verse better personally, but yeah,
I mean,
just
fair
curious.
enough, fair enough. But I feel like I'm gonna give it to Corey Guns here because I feel like 6 foot, 7 foot is one of the better maybe Wayne verses on the album, and
Yeah.
you could argue Corey Guns had a better verse on there. So, word to my mama, ama to my llama.
Yeah, it's insane. I'm with you. I'm with Corey Guns. He's the best feature. It's kind of generic, but he goes absolutely apeshit.
Yeah, like I said.
Like, it's Corey Guns. Shout out to Corey Guns. Come on
Yeah,
the show.
yeah, that's the right answer. I feel like there.
It is.
All right.
Okay. Next award, Best Verse. This is probably a tough one. I ended up with, I think, 3 or 4 nominations here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me hear your nominations.
Yeah, best verse. We're getting down to the cream of the crop here. We're getting down to the 3 biggest awards, if you will. All right, best verse. I got a couple nominees here. Blunt Blowin' verse 1 is going to be one that stands out to me for sure. I got Tech Nine actually on that interlude verse. I feel like is maybe one of the better ones on this album. Obviously, Corey Guns stood his test to, Lil Wayne. But aside all that, I feel like Tech Nine stands out on interlude. Abortion verse 2 is another one that stood out to me on the re-listen. But the one ultimately I'm going to have to go with is going to be Mega Man verse 2. My favorite verse probably on this album. I could spit it word for word. And really going back to it's the childhood memory shit. You know what I'm saying? It's one of these songs that I grew up really loving. So I'm going to give it to Mega Man verse 2.
I do have Mega Man verse 2 on my list of nominees. I have verse 2 on 6 foot, 7 foot, which is actually Lil Wayne's second verse. It's the real G's moving silence like lasagna. So many iconic bars on that verse 2. It's just like
Right.
Lil Wayne in his absolute prime going crazy. I have Lil Wayne's verse on It's Good. There's so many great punchlines on Lil Wayne's It's Good verse. One of my personal favorites. Maybe not technically the best, but I love that one. And then I have Nas's verse on Outro. Definitely one of the strongest on the album. He goes crazy. But I think based on my nominations and your nominations, we're giving the award of best verse to verse 2 on Mega Man.
Let's do it, bro. Let's go. That makes me happy because one of my favorite rap verses maybe of all time, personally.
I mean, yeah,
So,
if we agree, I like to give a concise winner. So verse 2 on Mega Man is definitely cool with me. Maybe I would go verse 2 on 6 foot, 7 foot. But yeah, Mega Man, really, you could nominate either verse. Verse 1 and 2 are both great.
yeah.
But yeah, I agree verse 2 is the better of the two.
I do love that first blunt blowing verse, though, too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That slow
There's a
flow.
lot of
I live
lot
it
of
up
pickings
like
on this
these
one.
on my last days. That slow flow is so cold to me. I always like that shit. But all right,
so
on to
slow.
the slow flow. On to the last 2 categories. We got best and worst song on the Carter 4. Start with the antithesis, I guess, and save the big one for last. What's the worst song to you on the Carter 4?
I don't know how you'll feel about this. I have 2 nominees here. I have Mirror with Bruno Mars.
What?
That's one of the most popular, biggest songs. Don't like it. And then I have So Special. Don't love the production on So Special. The verses are definitely on the weaker side of the spectrum when it comes to
Bruh.
verses on this album. Yeah, I have Mirror and So Special.
That's crazy. Hot takes here. We got hot takes.
I feel
here.
like those aren't hot. So Special, I don't like at all.
Dude, so special. That so special production is so like.
Yeah, I don't like the production.
It's so eccentric that it doesn't. Dude, what? Without that production, I feel like Travis Scott doesn't even exist. You know what I'm saying?
And
I feel
his
like
verses on So Special are the weakest 3 probably on the whole album.
I just feel like it's a revolutionary sound. The very eccentric, evolutionary almost fucking genre bending sound. But all right. And
I mean, I don't
Bruno Mars? Come on now. That's like one of the bangers on the album.
Yeah, no, that's if I had to pick, I would go Mirror. I just don't care for that song. It's one of the biggest, most popular, and there's so many better songs on this album that should replace Mirror in the standings for most streamed. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Well, I'll tell you one that shouldn't, in my opinion, is going to be just the intro. I'm not going to say this is the worst song on here, but I feel like kind of similar to the last album review we did the Blueprint. I just feel like the album really starts at track 2 with Blunt Blowin'. I feel like this is the true intro to this album. After, Blunt Blowin' and beyond, I can recite many lyrics to this album. So I just feel like that's it. And it feels a little light in terms of the raps. Just for
intros are kind of like a cheat code, though, so I need to know your other one.
It was just, he was like getting set, getting ready, and then, on Blunt Blowin', he takes off. But I think the one ultimately I'm going to go with, it's one of your favorites, actually. It's going to be Up, Up, and Away. On this
that's
album,
the hot take.
I do not like the production at all anymore. I feel like, I don't know. Maybe it's just when I listened to it, went back and listened to it when I just wasn't feeling it at the moment. But I just feel like the production is it just wasn't, it didn't hold a candle to basically any other point on this album. I felt like it was maybe the flattest point on the album, but
definitely disagree. I think it's one of the high points. Like, I really do. Fair enough. I think it's one of the top 5 songs on the album.
But you think Mirror is bad?
Yeah, I do. And I listen to it multiple times. I'm like, am I tripping? I just like, I love Bruno Mars' voice.
Yeah.
And I just like, I don't care for the song.
It's
just like a cheesy pop mainstream song,
that's fair enough to call it the worst one, because it's one that I'm going to revisit, not too much.
Yeah, I don't need that. You can get rid of that one, and I would love this album just as much.
I guess some honorable mentions.
John?
President Carter. No, I'm just playing. You were talking worst songs? John. Yeah, no.
I agree. I almost put that on here. I just don't really care for that
Rick Ross one. But no, I was trying to go into the next category here. I'm talking best songs. I'm thinking best songs, honorable mentions. What do you think?
Honorable mentions for best song? I narrowed it down to 5.
Yeah, so I guess give 2 honorable mentions, 3 of those ones.
Okay. If I had to get rid of 2 and call them honorable mentions, I guess I would go It's Good, because I don't think everyone loves that song as much as me. It's one of my personal favorites.
Not the
It's
strongest
good.
Jada Kiss verse. It's fun. It's fine. It hits like crazy on this album. You know what I'm saying? And he does go crazy.
I do love it.
And I do like the energy that Drake brings too. And also the energy that Wayne brings, saying that dissing Jay-Z.
Wayne's verse is crazy on that.
Kidnap your baby money. That line is kind of crazy. So
get how much you love your lady money. Exactly.
Valid.
And then I guess I would go. Shit. The other 4 are amazing. I'm gonna go She Will as an honorable mention. I got to keep my other 3 on here as nominees. I'm gonna go It's Good and She Will as my honorable mentions, and I have 3 real nominations.
Wow. Okay. Fair enough. Well,
give me yours.
I guess I was gonna say this before. So President Carter, I feel like should be an honorable mention, maybe as one of the better songs on here. I thought the sampling was so smart.
Yeah, it's good.
Some of the best production on the album, and just solid bars from Wayne. How to Love obviously is one that stands out here. It's maybe his best ever R&B cut. For me, it is.
Personal favorite of mine, for sure.
Yeah. So that's another one that stands out. Abortion is one that stands out here.
Yeah,
I'll just make that a nominee. Abortion. Okay. I got She Will as the best song here. I got Mega Man. I got so many. There's so many good songs on this album. But
I have Mega Man as well.
There's one though I feel like that we'll probably both come to a consensus on the best song on the Carter 4. It's Blunt Blowin'. The best song on the Carter 4 is Blunt Blowin'. Era defining. The drums, the slow flow, the classic Wayne delivery, the punchlines, the best hook arguably on the album. Blunt Blowin's the best song on the Carter 4.
Yeah, I had Blunt Blowin', Mega Man, 6 Foot, 7 Foot, She Will, It's Good. The ones you named, I could easily throw on my list too. I agree. Blunt Blowin', that's the best song on the Carter 4.
Hell yeah. Yeah, man. There it is. So there's our awards and our categories for the Carter 4. I guess going back and re-listening, how did you, enjoy the album? How does it make you look at it now? What are you feeling?
I mean, yeah, the Carter Four still. I mean, it's one that was super influential and important to me. We were at that right age. It came out. We were just starting to smoke and get in trouble, and listening to rap, and it's just like a special album. It came out at a special time in my life. Carter Four, top 10 album of all time to me, probably. So many amazing songs I still listen to, all the ones we mentioned, but it's good. She Will, 6 foot, 7 foot, Blunt Blow, and Mega Man. There's just so many amazing songs on here. Out of 100, if I'm giving it a score, I'm pretty high. Like, I know we gave Blueprint like a 90, but I'm like right around there with this too. I have like a range of like 88 to 92, right around a 90 for me for Carter 4 as well.
Well, give it a number 90.
I'm going to do 91.
91.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a little bit above 90. I want to lock in 91.
Fair enough. Yeah, for me, going back and listening to it this time really made me realize just how crazy Wayne was rapping on here. The punchlines are absolutely insane. Just from out the gate, like we mentioned from the top of the show, the punchline game is just insane. The wordplay, the pen is just hot.
That's what really stands out on the Carter 4 if you have to pick one thing.
Yeah.
It's the punchlines, the rapping.
The rapping is so good here, and I feel like it's Wayne in his prime. My personal favorite Wayne album. And I remember we did an episode a few months back of modern rap classic albums. I think this ended up losing to Recovery. And I do love Recovery, and I do love Eminem. But after listening to this album this time, and I actually did go back and revisit Recovery, I'm easily taking their Carter 4. I just feel like the punchline game is so much crazier. The production, the eccentric production that influenced the game today, the features from Nas to Prime Drake, Tech 9, André 3K, Jadakiss, Bruno Mars, the versatility, and I feel like it might be the best rap album of the past 20 years. So for me,
it's up there, no doubt.
I feel like it should have won that episode that we did about the modern rap classic bracket or whatever it was. But today it wins. I'm giving this a 95 out of 100, bro. This is a 95 for me. Like, this is a nearly perfect 100 out of 100 album. I feel like without the deluxe, it's a 97.
Yeah, you're not going to hear any arguments from me. I think the deluxe holds it down, if anything, too.
Yep.
There's two songs I would want to keep on the deluxe. The other 4 I'd probably get rid of.
Yep. Without the deluxe, and if the intro was maybe a little higher energy, something that stands out a little more, that's 100 out of 100. But it's a 95 for me with the deluxe. Without, I'm giving it a 97. So that's where I stand on the Carter 4. My favorite
well, there you go.
Ever. So, boom.
Well, there you go. There's our breakdown review of the Carter 4. Good 14, 15 years later. I mean, we're going to have to do Recovery at some point. But let us know in the comments what albums you want to see us break down. We don't want to do like brand new ones, classics. What classic albums you want to hear us break down, give awards to. Let us know. We will make sure to do that.
Rule, so it has to be at least out for 5 years. Considered a classic in the hip hop space. So, I'm excited for what's next.
All right, yeah, we'll see you guys next week with another classic album review breakdown. Let us know what you want to see. Subscribe. We love you.
Peace.
Peace.
It's Off the Top Podcast, got you laughing like you hit the gas pack. Show is crazy like you watching Mad Max. Every other podcast is mad whack. Off the Top Podcast.